Hello and thank you for watching the next video of Palo Alto video training series. In this video we are going to continue the configuration of Panorama device, the central management and monitoring device for Palo Alto Firewalls. In previous video we learned how to basically register a firewall to the Panorama, and in this video we're going to go a bit further and start setting up templates and device groups and start to understand how we can basically set up different configurations on Panorama device and push it through the firewalls from a central location, and how we can set up policies and things like that on the firewalls using Panorama Station. As I explained in previous video, we have two virtual devices. One is our firewall with IP address of 192.168.253.20, and one is our Panorama with the IP address of 192.168.253.10. So I'm just going to start with connecting to the firewall and Panorama device again. So let's log into our firewall, and on the other tab let's log into our Panorama device. So what we did in previous video was we went to the firewall and we basically set up the IP address of the Panorama server, as you can see here, on the actual firewall. And what we did on Panorama, we went on the Panorama Configuration, and on the Manage Device tab we basically added the serial number of the firewall, and that way the magic happened automatically and firewall got registered on Panorama, and now we can see Panorama is connected. So as I said, you have the ability to basically connect to the firewall instance through Panorama interface now and manage it that way. But what we're going to talk about now is a bit more about creating templates and using those templates to set up the firewalls remotely through Panorama. So as you can see in the top, we have dashboard, ACC, monitor, and Panorama, basically menus now. So first thing we are going to do, we're going to create a couple of templates. I'm going to create two templates. So we just start to go to the template tab and just add template 1, and basically you could assign your firewall. Basically you could allocate the firewall to a template. If you have multiple firewalls, you could choose which ones go to which template and things like that. I have only one firewall here, so I select that to kind of be part of template 1. So click on it, and I'm going to go ahead and create another template as well, call it template 2. And this one, because we don't have any more firewall, we just leave it empty for now. But one thing that you notice, the moment that we actually add a template, you could see that there are two more options added on the menu, which is network and device. So we added the templates, and that's basically only thing you need to create the template. So you're just going to commit the change to Panorama. So let's just commit the change and wait for it to finish. So it's done. So now we have created the templates, we've committed the change, and we got basically these network and device menus added on the top. What we can do now is click on one of these two tabs, and as you can see, there is a template option. There's a template drop box in there. So basically with the drop box you could choose which template you're actually working on. You could work on template 1 or you could work on template 2. So looking at the menus, you can see this is exactly the same menus that you have on the firewall itself. So if you go to basically device tab of the firewall, you can see same sort of menus you can see in there. So this is basically a location that you could set up all the bits and pieces and configuration that you need for that specific template, and then you could just kind of push that template through the firewall, and it will be added to your firewall. As you can see, you could set up password profiles, you could set up authentication profiles, you could set up syslog servers, SNMP servers. So as you can imagine, if you have a big environment with lots of firewalls, it would be much easier to set up things like these once and then push it through the firewalls rather than setting it up individually and manually on each firewall. So simple things like adding a syslog server or adding an email server, this is exactly the same thing that we did with the firewall, so you could do that. And you could basically have different type of configuration on template 1, template 2. So for example, if I go to syslog on template 2 and just try to add a syslog and call it syslog 192.168.1.1. Okay, so you see that I've got a syslog server in here, and I could go to template 1 and add another kind of a syslog server in there and call an IP address is 192.168.1.10, for example, just as an example. So you can see with template 1 we have this syslog server, template 2 we have the other syslog server, and you could just do all those sort of configuration that you need for different templates. Same thing, exactly the same thing with the network tab. So you could go to the network tab and you could set up different type of configuration in there. So for template 1 or template 2, you could choose which one. For example, on template 1 I want to set up a zone called in, and I want to create another zone called out. On template 2 I want to create a zone called green, and I want to create another zone called red. So you can see different templates have different zones, and exactly the same thing you could do with all these things. So you could set up all these profiles and protection requirements and whatever you need to do on different templates. So once you've done your template configuration, you could basically commit the change. So you can see, you could just go to commit, click on the template, and as you can see here, you can see template 1 can be synchronized with the firewall, which is already kind of, and you can see it's out of sync because obviously we haven't done that. So you could basically push that through your firewall. So doing that, basically it will send the configuration from Panorama to your firewall, and basically if you have multiple firewalls as part of that template, all of those firewalls will have or will receive those configuration, and it will make it easy for you. So you can see that I just pushed the configuration of template 1 to the firewall, and if you go back to the firewall here, so you can see the zones that I created on Panorama is pushed here, and if I just hover mouse over here, you can see it actually came from template 1. And also I had a syslog server, I think I created on that one, so you can see clearly that the syslog server also is available there. So it's basically, that's how you use the templates. The other thing that I just want to show you apart from templates is the device groups. So basically in an enterprise company, or wherever you have range of firewalls, you basically want to have a range of device group. For example, you want to have, if you have firewalls in different locations, you want to have location A firewalls, location B firewalls, and things like that. And then obviously have the same sort of policies on those devices that they are in the same location. This is achieved with the device group, so we can just go to the device group, click on device group, as you can see over here. We can create a new device group. We call it location A. So we don't have a range of firewalls, we have only one, so I cannot obviously demonstrate this with lots of firewalls, but I think this is good enough to get the idea. So you can just choose, if you have multiple firewalls that they are in location A, or you want them to have some sort of policies, you could just choose all of them and click on OK. So as you can see, location A created, firewall is part of location A, and as you can see on the top, two more menus actually added, policies and objects. So I'm just going to go ahead before we do anything else and commit the change to Panorama after creating the device group. So this is again exactly the same kind of concept as template. So you could go ahead and go to the menus that you have, objects and policies. So you could go to objects, for example. If you have multiple locations, you could choose different locations here, and you have basically the ability to have different sort of configuration of different objects for different device groups. So I have only one device group here, so in device group A, I'm just going to create a new object, call it test, and I'm just going to give it an IP address of 1.1.1.1/32, right? So that's the object that I created, and I'm going to go to the policies, and basically within the policies I could go ahead and add a new policies. Again, test policy, and say from in to zone out, whatever application. You could just say, I think we go to the services and just say HTTP, for example. Action, hello, do you want to log it, what do you want to do with it, all those kind of things. And once you've done that, you created your objects and you created your policies, all you need to do is just click on commit, and rather than going to Panorama template, this time you just choose device group, and you see you got your device group location A in there. So we basically can push the configuration that we just created to our firewall. So we just go ahead and commit the change. So again, this is quite useful if you have a range of firewalls that you want to have the same sort of policies. You don't really have to manage them individually. You can just create templates, create policies, and just do it that way. As you can see, configuration has been pushed to the firewall. So if we go to our basically policies, you can see that the policy that I created, the test policy, is just there. And if you go to the objects, we should see the test object that I created is just there as well. So I guess you get the idea of having templates and device groups on Panorama, and how easy it is to basically use Panorama to kind of set up your firewalls remotely. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.